Chris Ertel, thank you for coming in today to talk a little bit about the Economic Development Organization here in Jennings County.
Thanks for inviting me.
Can you give us a little bit of information or some information about you? Well, you're retired today, but what was your role in the community back in the day?
Oh, back in the day. Well, without talking too much about me, got on the EDC board in 1994 and served with a great group of people, some turnover over the time, until 2019. It was a 25-year run. At the same time, I was president of the Redevelopment Commission from 1993 until 2015, when there was a change of politics in the mayor's office. And I enjoyed that a lot because that really was our moneymaker for all the county to use. And also sprinkled during that time, I was a school board member for a total of 16 years. So I had a lot of different hats I could wear. And a lot of the roles overlapped each other, which made it kind of good to carry a consistent message from one organization to the other in case we had issues that overlapped.
Well, it's kind of like
challenges.
It's kind of like Jennings County has always been one team, right?
Exactly. We always referred to it as like North Front of Jennings County as if it's all one word. Because they used to say, why do you say that? I said, well, it just so happens that North Front is in Jennings County, and whatever benefits North Front can benefit the county, and vice versa.
Right.
No question.
In your view, why is it important for a county like Jennings to have a local economic development organization?
Well, everyone is vying for the attention of the state of Indiana, whether it's grants or projects or prospects, leads. And you need your advocate there to go to bat for you, or else you're just not going to get those chances. It just doesn't happen. People don't track you down. You have to go track them down. So you have to have the advocate if you want to look for opportunities for the people in this county.
What unique role did the JCEDC play during your time on the board?
Well, I don't know if it's so unique, is that we had a variety of good people that always pulled together. That you can always look at big projects, but even the small ones, they all count because there's someone out there that we helped get started. And that kind of makes you feel good.
Don't you think the diversity of the type of industry that we've been able to attract and support through the years is pretty unique itself because of, you were here during the Lowe's years. To land a Lowe's distribution center not on the interstate is pretty amazing, isn't it?
Well, that's a great story. And Lowe's is important because of Lowe's, and as the abatements ran off, more money came in from the commercial real estate taxes. And that was a big one, but they're all big, so they're all important. Even the guy that only has 10 people in his shop, they're still important to us. That's why it didn't matter how big, if they needed help and it was legit, it was a good prospect. And that gave us the variety because it wasn't like we just want the big, blue chippers. We're going to look at everybody. And if they're a good fit for Jennings County, let's get them in here.
I remember you and I having a conversation during your tenure on the board, and they say, there's a lot of hard decisions to be made, and there's good decisions and bad decisions, but sometimes you just have to say no to projects.
Yes.
And I remember one project in particular where we just said, this sounds good, but we don't think it's a fit. Do you remember that project? On having to actually say, we're not going to submit on this.
It was the car. Okay.
Carbon Motors. Do you remember that?
Yes, I did.
Because it was hard because Jennings County, North Vernon, as you remember, we were gung-ho, everybody.
Yes.
Yes.
But we just said there just doesn't seem, there's something that's missing here. It's just something's not right. And as it turned out, it didn't pan out. Whoever was working hard to get it, they did all the preliminary stuff. And as it turns out, it fizzled. So, there are times when, our judgment was pretty good. We said, if it just didn't pass the smell test, then we thought, well, maybe it's not a good fit.
And just sometimes it's okay to say no.
Yeah.
We don't think we're a community that it would fit. So
even now, some of these data centers are in the northern part of Indiana that they're putting in are huge consumers of electricity and power. And the question is, what do you offset to make sure it doesn't
take away from our
from the
community.
residentials that are there now? So there are some trade-offs that you have to be very careful of.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I think during your time on the board and the entire board has always done a good job of weighing those out as we're making recommendations. Again, as you've said before, we don't make the decisions, but we kind of just make the recommendations to the elected officials.
Yep. Yeah, we respect our role, and that was try to bring, after we did our homework, did the research, thought it was a good deal. Didn't mean that they always took everything we offered, but in general, when they trust you and they reelect you and keep you there, then I think there is a level of trust that they have that they had in us. But ultimately, it was, we'll bring the project to them and say, here it is. Here's what we recommend, or you make the call.
So that's kind of
and we supported it.
And that's kind of like going back to the first question as to what is our unique role. Our unique role was to gather data and make the best recommendation as we could.
And if there was a project we knew wasn't a good fit, then we weren't going to take it to them, knowing full well we wouldn't recommend it to waste their time. I mean, sometimes it's important just to say, no, that it's not going to get off the ground. It's not something we would feel comfortable with, and it isn't a matter of deciding for them. It's a matter of saying, this wasn't a good fit. The parts don't work, and that's why they have us,
right,
to do all that homework and research in advance.
Can you recall a project or an initiative that best illustrates the value of the JCEDC's work?
Well, there's no question. In the Lowe's deal, which is a good example, as big as it is, that was one where you said just a few minutes ago it never made it to an interstate. We're not near an interstate, but we didn't know we had plans eventually to get us a bypass. We kept saying we're going to work on that no matter what. We didn't have it yet, but that didn't mean we weren't going to work hard to get it. But at the same time, if you recall the story far better than I, that they said, well, it's either going to be in Seymour or Columbus or Greensburg, but we'll stop by North Vernon for lunch. And then we wouldn't let them leave until they said they put it here. And then they said, well, we'll buy you the 100-acre farm and give it to you. We'll build a 300,000-gallon water tank and give it to you. Build it on site. We'll improve and straighten out Forest Street behind the building so they have better access to it out the back, because it was a snaky little city road. And we'll get you access on and off of State Highway 3. And we made all those promises, and then we said, now we have to go out and go do it. And then they created the TIF, which in '93 created us the opportunity to provide them, give them those things, those incentives that we said in order for them to land here. And we're good salespeople because we even got them to guarantee the bonds.
Well, and the good thing about some of the things that redevelopment has done and throughout the years is, for the most part, always been focused on infrastructure and the improvement. So whatever the funds that were used to support the project stayed. I mean, the water tower, the infrastructure, all that stays with whoever's there for many, many, many years after, right?
Absolutely. And the thing is that we started off with one building. What was it, 250,000 square feet or whatever?
Yeah.
And provided the abatements, which only was made sense. That was
It's
pretty
a phase
standard.
in. Let's remind people it is a phase in of property tax.
It's an abatement, not a rebatement, but an abatement. And in spite of those people, the doomsdayers that said, well, once the abatements run off, they'll be gone. I think Lowe's has already celebrated, 30 years here plus now?
Plus, yeah.
So they didn't go anywhere. We've been good neighbors with each other. And when they needed something, we tried to be there, and they've come through for us and continue to expand. So that's been a wonderful opportunity for this county.
How did the organization in your tenure help build partnerships between government, business, and the community?
Well, there's no question it's people business. And you have to go out of your way to make sure that you keep them in the loop. You create a relationship with these people, whether it's local level, local elected officials, local shareholders, local business people, school officials, whoever it may be, state officials, at multiple levels, and just stay in contact, develop a working relationship with them, and when they ask you to do something that they can trust you with it, you don't violate that trust. And I think it's all about networking with people then, because they're the ones that'll create an opportunity for you. Hey, we had this project's coming up, we had you guys in mind, would you like to be bid on it, or would you like to be included in it? And you don't get that unless you work with other people where they know that you have your best interest. It's also good when local people don't have any political agenda. I had no idea whose politics were what when I was on the TIF board or the EDC board. We didn't worry about that stuff. We just said, "Is your goal what's in the best interest of North Vernon and Jennings County?" Then that's it. Separate from all the other stuff. So there's a lot of noise out there now, but there wasn't that much noise then because we were all focused on. That's the only way we could land Lowe's was everybody pulled together for that project to make sure that it could happen.
What would be missing in Jennings County if the JCEDC did not exist?
Well, I think we create a level of cooperation between, even if it's a city to the county, because we have this connection that the projects we're going to come up with are mutually helpful. And we certainly don't want them to compete when locally we don't have enough resources that we'd both waste a resource. We need to put ours together because we're limited on what we can do. If we weren't around, then I think that level of cooperation and interaction that we try to create where we keep everybody in the group together, all one group, thinking what we just said. North Vernon and Jennings County, it's all one word. And that doesn't mean we're exclude Scipio or Vernon or anyone else. It's just, that's the focus. And it's all in the county that we have to keep everybody together. And that's the key, is not letting them work off on their own little turfs. That's when you run into problems, and that's when you end up, you want to waste the time and the resources competing internally with each other.
Well, and I think you used to have a comment, I remember you saying back in the day, we may be small, but we just don't know it. Or what was it you used to say? Something about that. You used to talk a little bit about we're small, but nobody's told us yet that we're not we're not as big as Columbus. Or
I do recall part of that, and I think you paraphrased as well, is that we may be small, but we don't realize it. And I think that's the thing too. We also used to use the slogan for our friends with the military that be careful what you ask for, because we'll get it for you.
right.
Because that was our goal. If they really had something they needed, we try to find a way. What can we do to get there somehow?
We've tried to make sure that we have the connections that we need to have, not just locally, but also statewide and regionally. That I've found through the years that it's really, really important to be able to call the agencies directly, to be able to maybe get through to a governor's office at any given time. But
you're absolutely spot on. All I could think of when you just said that now was getting the quarry, which is huge. If there's anything, if all of a sudden we ran out of water, there'd be no reason to stay.
And you were the guy. I mean, you fell on your sword. I mean, you really went to bat for that quarry and helped create the deal in the very beginning with NDOT, correct? And
NDOT, and I can't remember the name of the regional guy over at Seymour who was so great to work with. And we were desperately trying to find a way to get the quarry because it was at the time a backup emergency water source in case there would be something that would, as they built bridges, the bypass over our water supply, if there was a wreck and contaminated the water, what would we do? And this was supposed to be a backup. And so we were working hard together to get that, and they were huge in helping us get the quarry bought from Hanson. Heidelberg actually owned them, but Hanson. And I can't thank them enough. And that's a relationship with someone at the state level. And a regional NDOT guy that did what he could and came up later and said, hey, we'll throw in another $500,000, you throw in $500,000, and I think we can pull this off, because the original starting price was at $12 million or higher, and worked its way down. And because of their help and that relationship with state, regional, what you just pointed out, that's what made it happen.
Yeah. So that would be my kind of input or answer to that question was, without JCEDC, those type of regional and state connections wouldn't be here today.
Well, maybe they wouldn't
It's
pick up
even harder today sometimes.
Well, you would know better than I. Maybe they wouldn't even pick up the phone if they didn't know who the call is coming from. Right. But when they know you, they'll say, well, what is it you got? What do you need? What are you doing?
What were some of the biggest challenges the JCEDC faced while you were on the board?
If you can qualify for the grant, if they think that you are on the list, that the prospect might be interested in you, you hope that our name is submitted to them as an option. And if they don't drop our name, then we never even know what prospects are not there, that we missed.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's once again, those were some of the challenges.
Making sure a small community rises to the top, or at least is in the mix.
Well, if we have something that maybe they could use, if we're a location that might be a good fit, we have to admit who we are. And so what do we have to offer that might be a good fit for them? And sometimes we don't have it.
Right. Was there ever resistance to EDC initiatives, and how was it overcome? Do you remember any? Gosh, I don't remember in my tenure that many resistance. Usually they trust us, right?
The local elected officials did trust us because they knew we did our homework and we'd research it and see whether we thought it was a good fit or not. Did everything always pan out? No. But I mean, we did. They may have lasted a while, and the organizations or the entity that we landed, maybe they just didn't do their job, and that's why it didn't work out. Not everything works every time, and you hope that it works out or pans out, and they do the hiring that they want to, and that's why you, in your role, put in the clawbacks in case they don't pan out and do what they say. Right?
Mm-hmm. What limitations, would it be like financial, political, or otherwise, has constrained the EDC's potential during your time?
I think usually funding. I mean, we only have so much I use the word resources. We only have so much to offer because of who we are, our size. We have more now than we used to as a result of LOWS and the funding that comes through them. Mm-hmm. Since they're our biggest source of funding for the Redevelopment Commission, which is usually where you go if you need something, matching funds, and if they are appropriate and can be used in the redevelopment zone. Mm-hmm. So I think funding has probably always it's always about money, but then we also have to, like we said before, we have to be a good fit for whoever wants to come here.
Right. Is there an asset that we have in Jennings County, North Vernon, that you're particularly proud of, like working with, like the airport? I know that as your time on the Redevelopment Commission, you made sure that you mentioned matching money.
Oh yeah.
That there was always matching money, because the airport is a gem that we have in North Vernon that kind of gets forgotten about, and you were really a supporter of that during your time on our board and the redevelopment board.
When the initial redevelopment zone just had LOWS 300 acres or whatever, and then we expanded it to include the airport, that was and then we were in a position where we could legitimately spend funding on whatever they might need out there, which including completely replacing the runway, mm-hmm. putting in the fencing, building the additional hangars, I think we privately funded, or we privately lent money to them to build the new terminal. But mm-hmm. yeah, we thought, this is important. A viable airport is a good way, a good source, a good selling point, just like a good local hospital.
Right.
I mean, there are certain things that you kind of have to have mm-hmm. if someone wants to seriously entertain coming to you. Mm-hmm. You're spot on about the airport. That is it can handle landing the C-130s.
Yeah, and that's pretty amazing for a
5,000 foot runway.
Yeah, exactly. Looking back, what accomplishments are you most proud of from your time on the EDC board of directors?
Well, we don't want to leave out the smaller projects we talked about, because everybody's important.
You're particularly proud of the Steve Gasper project. I remember back, when I first started this job in this role as EDC director, the pride that you had in supporting Gasper Engineering.
Well, his dad owns a lot of land. The kid could have gone anywhere to build his facility and create that business opportunity. And we said we just said to him, well, why don't you let us give you the land and move and put it where it's in this industrial park where you have higher visibility, and to come to us where we can kind of help you out and take care of the deal. And he did choose us then. I mean, he could have gone anywhere. I mean, but we were glad to have him and take care of one of our own and get him in a higher. And actually, right now, his location is just a stone's throw from the bypass. So our recommendation was a good one, and our sincere efforts to say we want to put in a bypass someday. We didn't know where NDOT was going to finally put it, but where it is now is certainly well used by everybody who was against it.
Well, I think about that project, and you mentioned the small projects because you're right. A lot of times they do. It's not that they're overlooked, but you get more press. Back when we had the
big
plane
boys.
dealer, we had a lot more. Seems like press on the NVIC. When John Hall went to Japan and met Mr. Oda and brought the foundry in North
NVIC.
Vernon, that was a big.
Yeah.
Get for us, diversification again.
And then they expanded, built another building right across the way from it. So, yeah, and that's a good one to point out. I mean, it's been a solid player.
John Hall, I mean, really, as his term as mayor was a huge cheerleader for the growth in the economic development, industrial world, back in his time,
I
right?
think it's easily said he loved being mayor. He loved being able to go out and just do things for people. I mean, it really was his focus in his life, was that just what can you do to make it better? Obviously, the Lowe's project was a big one because of that. And the funding that was created for the Redevelopment Commission to do other projects since then, obviously that's a big one. The quarry is huge because we have water now that we can kind of count on, and it's critical. Without water, you have nothing. I mean, you have to have it.
So, speaking again about the quarry, just briefly, I bet that does your heart really good to see people out walking it. And, and the activity, how you're able to have the safe backup water source, but then now the public to be able to enjoy it and what it brings to the region,
Well, when we got it for 140 acres or so we are allowed, they said, now we'll use the aggregate, and whatever we don't use by December that year, it's yours. And there was a lot left over of gravel and whatever that could have been used wherever we needed it that became ours as part of the purchase price. And of course, NDOT just handed all this over to us. And it's no longer the backup water supply, it's the primary. And thank God, because of that long stretch was a drought where the river was down to creek status, which it has been in the past. And the Butler River Reservoir, it might be 6 foot deep in the deepest part because it's just been it's filled in. Silted in. So it's critical. And and then to realize we had other things you could have done with the excess acreage that we got as a result of the efforts of our friends at NDOT. It's another opportunity. And we were lucky they were a good team member. And I think that's a word that we haven't even used yet. We talked about interrelationships with that. But when you build a team, where we built state officials that we knew very well, and we knew that we'd go to bat for them, they went to bat for us, and we always had their back. Local, and that's where it was. I think the whole key here is the biggest success thing probably is when you work with good people, good things happen.
Also, I was somewhere and we were talking about a potential project or this, that, the other, and we were commenting about North Vernon and Jennings County. And I remember a state official telling me once, we like doing work with you guys because you do what you say you're going to do. And that always resonated with me, that we have a reputation of, whoops.
You probably can't hear it.
We have that reputation of executing.
Yeah.
We complete. If we say we're going to do something, we're going to do it.
Well, I mean, and if we make a promise to someone, then it's our goal is to try to make sure we fulfill that promise.
Yeah, and I think
that's a nice reputation to have.
I'm very, very happy to know that we have that. So, let's see. What do you think is the greatest opportunity for economic growth in Jennings County over the next 10 years? Any foresight?
I've been thinking about that, and I thought, I really don't know. I've been kind of out of the loop since retirement to know what things have transpired in the last, 6 years, and where we're heading or what's a priority for the local officials. You know, I really don't know where they want to head. Where, what do they want to do? Because a lot of times it was like we would say to them, well, what is it you want? If we find more jobs, we have to make sure we have people to fill them.
Right.
I think you've been working on housing and like across the street, and that's going to have some housing for people, but we still need, whenever you land a prospect, we have to make sure we've got people to work for them.
Well, I think when you first started on the EDC board, and I've talked a little bit about when I first started here, our main goal, priority, function was, and I jokingly say this, we chased smokestacks. We were looking at industry only. We had a chamber of commerce at the time, which we don't now, that really worked a little bit more with small business, commercial
Correct.
type areas. But through the years, it's really evolved into the economic development organization. We have to be a little bit more, multi-focused.
Flexible.
Somewhat. Flexible, exactly.
Yeah, exactly, because we have to fill a void. Whatever the chamber did as a function in the past, now that it's gone in this county, we kind of inherited some of those requests for help, and if we could help, we did.
Business support, that type of thing. I've seen that through the years that we've, as you said, we've delved into housing planning. We've delved a little bit in more quality of life with the quarry, or, Stellar. When we were the first Stellar community along with Greencastle, and we were very proud of that. But that was really our first foray into really being, as our office, taking a lead in something other than wasn't an industrial project. So,
And Stellar has been a real plus. From what the downtown used to look like versus what it looks like now, it's just really nice compared to what it was, because we have photos of what it looked like before, and it was humble.
and a good thing is we've always had the connections and the resources with the elected officials and the powers, or the different folks in the community that would all, like you said, come together in a team format.
That's so critical, is that when you have good people that
Can't be an island.
No, and you have to have those people that really just want to work together and say, well, what can we do to make it better? And when you have a group like that stays focused on the big picture and what can we do, and they have no personal agenda, no personal gain, that's a success story in itself. Being able to work with groups like that, it's a nice feeling. And then you do get accomplish things get done that are better for other people that maybe not even be a benefit to me or you personally, but that's not the point. We'll do something that's going to benefit the other people down the road.
It's one thing that we've always talked about, is that economic development is a marathon. It is not a sprint.
Well, you're never done.
No, and we got to look 3, 5. If you're looking 3 and 5 years down the road, I should be looking 10, at least, about our next
It's
move.
a great question. Well, it may be a good question for people that want to be an elected official. Where do you see this community in your role, 10 years from now? What do we look like? What do we need? What problems do we have that we should be working on now so that they're not worse later? Those kind of things. I mean, at least like we solved water. That's a huge thing.
If you could wave a magic wand and make one thing happen for Jennings County's economic future, what would it be?
Well, initially, I was worried about the hospital, but you reassured me that we're in pretty good shape there, which is a huge, huge asset for our community. So,
I'd still say the hospital is still continuing to be a vital part.
absolutely, yeah. And
start.
had we lost it, I think it would have been a nightmare for us in recruiting. I think we worked hard years ago when we had Jennings Community, and it was just so. I think continuing to get, I think a magic wand moment would be continuing to find and get good people that want to work together, set aside issues, set aside any bipartisan stuff, stay focused on the big picture, what's in the best interests of North Vernon and Jennings County combo. And that would be nice to get back to those days where I was lucky enough to enjoy that spirit of teamwork. And if it's still around, that's great. And the magic wand would be to, if it's still around, keep it. And if it's not around, get it back.
Finish this sentence. Economic development in Jennings County means
Having an advocate who looks for opportunities for the people of Jennings County. And since our role is, like you said before, since our role is flexible, if someone else isn't doing it, we typically have stepped in to help.
what do you think people outside the board misunderstand about the work of the EDC?
Well, they probably don't know what we do. A lot of times we will be working behind the scenes, you and your team setting the groundwork, looking for what kind of perks or incentives that the client might need or want to consider us as a place to come. And a lot of it we keep confidential as a respect to the client that may say, I don't want this out on the street yet. So there's a lot of quiet work that's done here that can't be advertised, or else you'll lose your prospect. And as a result of that, they really don't know all the work that's done that's not above the radar or in the radar. So they probably don't realize a lot of the work that's done in advance. It's not by accident that someone ends up picking us. Right. There's a lot that's been done to see what they need to get all these things that are missing, scratched off, checked off that list, and so that this client, this prospect is happy.
And I'm going to bring it kind of all back around because we really haven't talked a lot about them yet. But I would say the work to support Muscatatuck Urban Training Center and the Indiana National Guard definitely is part of this work that we've done in the past. Wouldn't you agree?
I just loved working with, whether it's General Tooley, General Umbarger, General Lyles. I spent 3 years teaching at the Patriot Academy, just to volunteer, and I was looking for my tag to be an adjunct instructor to teach personal finance to the young people. We ended up graduating 505 people out of that 3-year grant academy, and it lasted 3 years. And when the grant ran out, they didn't renew it because they didn't need to do them anymore. Mm-hmm. But it was a great opportunity to meet with young people from all over the United States and work. Now, that was just one aspect of it, and to work with all of our buddies out there at MUTC, and no matter what they needed, like I said before, we used to tell them, be careful what you ask for. We'll get it for you. Because we really did want to make sure that if they wanted to do something and had a legitimate thing that we might be able to pull off and get for them, we'd do it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was probably one of your highlights, I think, probably on the board. If I were to remember back, you were the go-to board member that really was that liaison. And I think you were really at a liaison. The county appointed you a liaison to the Muscatatuck.
I forgot that.
Yeah.
The county commissioners always had me to negotiate the contract to lease space, to track down space and pay the county for that, rental space when they had their big projects that they would bring in. And I was glad to help out in that role because we had, once again, it goes back to what you said, working relationships with these different people. And they knew that we had their best interest at heart. And if we said we'd do something, like you said, if we said we'd do it, we'd do it. And we didn't promise something we couldn't deliver. Mm-hmm. We tried to over-deliver and under-promise so that we could give more than what we said we would. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was a wonderful run, and I have a warm spot about MUTC.
Well, to think that we were in the room when they first brought it up, the idea up.
Yeah.
There's the story about the lights going out and the electricity going out when they're presenting. Here true. In the office in a small space.
That's true. it looks like we had our work cut out for us because the power kept going out, and they came back on and it went out again. And it's like, we're going to get through this. In spite of the early struggles, we're gonna do this. And we just had our heart set on it because it was just a great opportunity. Now, there are those who said, "Boy, the place looks like a wreck." I said, "Well, that's by design." It's supposed to be, because it's how to prepare for disasters, and what better place to do than a place that's designed for disasters. It was a great way to utilize that existing asset without bulldozing it all down, which was an option.
Well, I think we were talking about hardwoods at one point too. They were talking about Purdue planting trees on it. So the whole vision of it obviously was behind the vision of General Tooley and General Umbarger and their teams.
Yeah.
Their Muscatatuck's getting ready to celebrate their anniversary, this year.
How many years
20
now?
years.
Has it been 20 already?
Yeah. So they're celebrating that, and they've had some flashbacks and stuff that have been going out, and it's really warms your heart a little bit to see Lieutenant Colonel McAllister, and everything. So you think about the folks that have been involved. It does your heart good, I think.
It does. Of course, we went to Dale's reception, and what a wonderful guy to work with. Said he always made me feel special. And I said, I'm not special, but if I wanted to see him for some reason, it was just easy access. He just knew that he'd find a way to work me into his schedule, which was awful nice. Because
I would say the Indiana National Guard has been one of our best partners.
Best teammate, yeah.
Since they came to town.
Absolutely. And we won't let them leave.
No.
We're not going to. They're family now, so that we claim them as our own.
That's right.
Absolutely.
And so is there a legacy that you hope the JCEDC continues to carry forward? Any legacy?
When you say legacy, you mean?
The EDC office. Is there a legacy that this office can, that we hope we carry forward?
I'm repeating myself, but it's all about people, because things come, buildings are built, and then they get old, and then you get replaced. But we need working people that want to work together. I think I said before, when good people get together, good things happen. And if we continue to have good people that want to be a part of the EDC, as they replace those of us that step aside for new young blood and fresh talent, and new energy, that's the key, is that it's always going to be about people. And if they really have the best interests of North Front and Jenks County package at heart, then we'll be fine. We're going to have challenges out there. There's going to be disappointments and things, but when you have these people working together, they'll find a way to get through it or get over it, or buy time till they find a solution. And that's what we need.
Mm-hmm. Good. Thank you, Chris.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I had a great time having this conversation with you.
Me too.
It's been a little while to talk about some of these old stories.
Oh yeah, and bringing up MUTC and the NDOT and the quarry stuff. I mean, it was nice. I mean, we've got some really good things.
One thing we haven't talked about, or I guess I need to share with you a little bit. You've always, on the board, we've always wanted to support Jennings County Schools and our emergent workforce. Obviously, is very important to us in the schools, and we've talked many times about Panther Tech, or the opportunity to have our Jennings County High School students not have to travel to Versailles for some of their career readiness coursework. So announcement, of course, with our Ready 2 initiative, Jennings County Schools are prepping to build Panther Tech, which will be a standalone building that will support building trades, some career readiness classes, along with some other things.
So they won't be busing to Versailles?
Not as many students. There will be some students going to Versailles, but we're going to have...
Smaller bus.
Well, yeah.
Well, anything we can provide on site, because you're wasting a lot of time on a bus ride when you go back and forth to
Well,
Versailles.
if you want a company to come in and invest in Jennings County and North Vernon, and you want them to live here, you tell them they can work here, but we can't educate our kids wholly here. So now we can. We're getting to that point where we're not having to send our students outside our county to have the skills needed to work in our county. So I'm really excited about that. I knew you would be too.
Oh, absolutely. We worked on that. At one time,
It's been a long time.
we found some extra money once just to improve the building trades that are in the high school itself, where we improved the shop and bought some small versions of a CDC machines, so they at least had some sort of an idea what they were looking at. Got some input from like Mike Montgomery and a few other people that they're businessmen now, and they were my high school students back then, actually. And it was nice having that relationship. So I mean, even then you think about it, but yeah, that's great. Where's the location of the building supposed to be?
It's going to be in where the old, as of right now, I think they might be still looking at a couple locations, but I think it's going to be on the JV Diamond.
Oh, okay.
Your tenure on the board of directors, that you found that, yes, we had great working relationships with everyone locally and things were moving really well. And we got to the point where we kind of quit waiting on grants, and we kind of quit waiting. We just decided if we wanted something, we just did it on our own. I think that mentality.
Well, that means you had to have the money to do that. And I think as abatements rolled off and more money came in from Lowe's and the other players in the redevelopment commission, then you could that fund built up pretty well. It was when we first had the redevelopment commission in '93, and after we'd bought and spent everything we had, I think we still had $50,000 left in the checking account. We thought, oh man, we are in the chips. Now, when I got off the commission in 2015, I think we had $5 million in the checking account at that time. We still have to take bond payments out of it, stuff like that. I don't know what they got left in terms of finances, but yes, that was one of the, when you talk about earlier about challenges, waiting for matches, grant money, do you qualify? Will they give it to you? How long does it take to go through all this? And then you have all those things that you have to do, those steps before you can even start to break ground. Yeah. It's kind of like, let's just do it. So if you have the stuff and you can do it.
Well, also if you have the plan.
Yeah.
And I was commenting to someone several months ago, we were talking about, North Vernon and how it's evolved and changed in Jennings County. We've done a better job at planning and being ready for opportunities. And I think that was something that the board and you all worked on, kind of always telling me or the other directors, you have to be ready.
Yeah.
And we can't just say we want it. We have to have the data and everything to back it up.
Exactly. And then, of course, try to, think down the road, what are we going to need eventually, and then prepare for that rather than fall in your lap and thinking, oh, now what do we do? Well, you knew it was coming. So why did you wait so long before you were, had something in place to take care of this, whether it's a problem or an opportunity?
Yeah.
Do you have anything you want to
Anything else, Jesse?
Oh, I think I've spoken plenty, I'm afraid.
50
thanks.
minutes.
Huh?
50 minutes.
50? Boy, I held her hostage, didn't I? No, that's fine. I think it worked out well.
I want to make sure you